Hey everybody, it's SaskiaSketches. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I will share my thoughts on the newest How to Train Your Dragon film in this first ever episode of Saskia Review Stuff, until I've found a better title. In this series I'll be reviewing books, films, or whatever stories I want to praise or bash. I am a storyteller, so I benefit from analysing other people's stories. Plus, I get my enjoyment out of analysing them. I love a well-constructed narrative. To me, it can make or break a film. Now, of course, I'll keep it spoiler-free for those of you who still want to watch this film. Now, I will get to the review in a moment, but first I want to explain the method I use for analysing stories. The method I used, I named the triangle of storytelling. I will put a poorly drawn picture in MS Paint up on screen so you guys understand what I'm talking about. So there you go, that is the method I came up with. If a film, book, anime series has all this, you know it's good. But the funny thing is, even if the characters aren't very colourful or if the plot isn't very interesting, if the overall aesthetic is right, then something can still be a great film or a great book or a great anime. A good example of this is Yuri on Ice. The characters are not very outstanding, the plot isn't too great either, but because the overall aesthetic is so beautiful, the drawing style is phenomenal and the animation is just incredible, that's why you kind of keep watching. And of course this doesn't just apply to fine characters, fine plot and great overall aesthetic. You can switch these around. If one of these things is good, a story can be good. That being said, the others do have to be okay. Otherwise I usually can't really look past it. So I analyse my stories in these three categories. Characters, I think, is self-explanatory, as is plot. Plot is just the story. And overall aesthetic, with that I mean the visuals or the style, the writing style, the drawing style. You get it. Obviously there's a lot more that goes into a good story, but this is the thing I broke it down into. Now let's get into my review of How to Train Your Dragon 3. Now let me tell you why I love this film. In order for a sequel to be successful, it needs to do either one of two things in my opinion. And of course both, if possible. First, it needs to answer questions or address plot holes left unexplained from the first part of the story. And these answers need to make sense within the narrative. And second, it needs to develop the characters. How to Train Your Dragon 3 does both. It explains how the Night Furies got extinct, except for Toothless of course, and it gave Toothless and Hiccup the opportunity to grow as characters. And not just that, the other characters were developed as well, at least a little bit. And because the film does this, it is a good sequel. But is it also a good story? Let's start with the characters. Now, like with the first and second film, there is a small time gap between the second and the third film. So naturally, the characters are a little bit older, meaning they've had time to develop off screen. What I love about this film is that it recognizes that the characters have done that. They're a little bit older, so they've grown up a bit more. And the changes aren't drastic, but they're still there. And it doesn't really feel like a change. It more so feels as if these characters have grown up and developed a little bit more. And I'm someone who just really appreciates those kinds of details. Especially Roughnut, I think, got a couple of good scenes displaying this. The new characters were also great. I especially loved the new antagonist. He was very well written and he didn't feel like a cookie-cutter character, like I was afraid he might. He felt original. He was very different from Drago from the second film. But like Drago, he felt like a legitimate threat. And this is a very good thing about the How to Train Your Dragon series. The antagonists really feel as if they could ruin everything for the main characters. And occasionally they do. The second film is a good example of this. So they carry that on in the third film as well, which I really like. Even the Light Fury I thought was a very nice character. I was afraid that was going to be this film's downfall, but it actually didn't feel like that animated sequel trope where where one of the main characters gets a girlfriend just for the sake of it, which is something I've seen quite a lot. And although the Light Fury reminded me of that, it was different. I think that was because she wasn't the main focus of the story, and the story didn't revolve around Toothless and the Light Fury getting together, which is incredible. I really, really love that that took the story in a different direction. Now let's get into the plot. It was also quite good, and that's mostly because the story felt necessary and it built upon the previously established problems from the first and second film. For example, Berg getting overcrowded was a very clever way to introduce conflict into the plot, and it really felt like a real problems these characters would have to face. The rest of the narrative was also very well constructed. I can't say too much here without getting into spoilers, but I can tell you that all the plot twists and all the events the story took were very well written and well thought out. It didn't feel at all as if they'd thrown in things last minute. Looking at you, Lego Movie 2. No, but seriously, this film is really, really good story-wise. Like I said, the narrative is just really well constructed, and I wish I could give you some examples, but this is supposed to be spoiler-free, because I want all of you to go watch this film for yourselves, because it is so good. And then lastly, the overall aesthetic. The visuals were gorgeous, absolutely stunning. We've seen a big jump in quality from the first film to the second film, and that same improvement is there from the second film to the third film. Now yesterday I rewatched the first film, and then that really hit me. There is so much more higher quality animation in the third film. That doesn't undermine the brilliance of the first film, but it just shows how much DreamWorks has grown as a studio too. The hair, for example, in the first film it was decent, but in the third film it was so detailed, it was so realistic. It felt like you would be able to touch it and it would feel like actual hair. Near the end of the film there's a close-up of Astrid's hair, and it's incredible. It's so good, amazingly well made. And that's another thing I love about this series, that they don't keep the animation consistent in quality. They continue to improve the quality, and I really love seeing that. It's not as if the characters change too much though. It's still those characters. You still see that it's them, but it's like just higher definition, which I really, really like and appreciate. And that is just the characters, the environments, the settings, like the clouds and everything. It's so gorgeous, so stunning, absolutely beautiful. I would watch this film just for the visuals, and especially in a cinema. It's just on a big screen it's even prettier, I think. It felt as if every new environment had a different feel to it, a different atmosphere, and that's just because they put so much time and effort into actually constructing those environments, which I really, really love and appreciate. That's something you definitely didn't see in the first film. There everything just felt like forest and village. It didn't feel consistent, but I really prefer the settings and environments of the third film. So that is what I think of those three: plot, characters and overall aesthetic. But I was afraid this film would suck. I was very scared that this film wouldn't be good. And after I watched this film I was confused about that, because I never should have doubted How to Train Your Dragon. The first film was brilliant, the second film was even better, and this third film is even better than that. And this series hadn't given me the impression that it was going off the rails, it was going in a bad direction. So then I was wondering, well then why did I think that? And the answer to that is the trailer. I think 50 to 75% of that trailer is about the Light Fury. And like I said before, animated sequels are notorious for just getting a female character in there just for the sake of it. You know, just for the sake of her hooking up with one of the characters and without her actually getting a character development or actually grow as a person. Ice Age is a very good example of this, or a very bad example. They do this 3+ times. They just throw in a character and they just meant to hook up with one of the other characters. Right, you had Ellie, you had Shira, you had that sloth that was so forgettable that I don't even remember her name. And then I think Shira did get a little bit of character development and stuff, but yeah, it just wasn't very good. And Ice Age, it's just one of the many examples of this. And because the trailer for How to Train Your Dragon 3 was mainly about Toothless and the Light Fury getting together, I felt like, oh, here we go again. Nothing as lovely as to ruin two fantastic films with a cash grab and lazy writing. But luckily it didn't go that way. The Light Fury wasn't a plot device, rather just another character and another way to protrude the story forward. So that is my advice. If you're still not sure whether you should watch this film or not, do not trust the trailer, okay? It's much better than the trailer. And let me advise you to take some tissues because the ending will make you cry. It had me in tears, I swear. It's an incredible conclusion to this incredible series, and I would not have wanted it to end otherwise. So I would recommend this film to anybody who has seen the other two films of How to Train Your Dragon and enjoyed them, of course. It is a good conclusion to the story and it's not worth skipping. So whether you're someone who just loves to watch pretty scenery and cool dragons flying, or whether you're somebody who loves a good narrative like me, this film is right for both of you. And I think you'll definitely enjoy it. This film is really, really good and I would give it a solid 5 out of 5 stars. So if you're somehow still not sure whether you should see it or not, just take it from me, go watch it. It is really, really good. I can't say it enough. And that concludes the first ever episode of Saskia Reviews Stuff. I will try to come up with a better title. Like I said, I am a storyteller, so I really love analysing stories and making reviews on them, which is actually one of the reasons I wanted to start a YouTube channel. So expect more reviews in the future. I really enjoyed making this one. Thank you so incredibly much for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more art videos from me. I make reviews and I make tutorials and I do some cool sketching every now and again too. You can also tick the bell icon if you'd like to get notified whenever I upload a video, and please give this a like because that helps a lot. Share this video with anybody who is not sure whether they should watch the film or somebody who has watched the film and really liked it. Thank you so much again for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later and keep on sketching.